go through some ideas or suggestions that we can maybe try to incorporate into our mind, into our lives, so that we can begin to develop this type of confidence. So we're talking about having the right thoughts, producing the right thought processing in our mind, so that whenever we're looking out to our external world, we have a better experience of it. Yeah, this is what we're trying to do. Rather than working with the external to make the internal better, what we're doing is we're going to try and reverse this, work with the internal to make the external better. Yeah? Because human beings, we've spent our lifetimes trying to sort all our problems out externally. Yeah? But if we could all work internally, if everybody could train their mind to its highest level, so that it was at peace all the time, then there would be no problems. There'd be no relationship difficulties, no conflict, because everybody was at peace within their own mind, and we'd find resolutions to problems easily. But because human beings, we haven't worked on our mind, we don't spend our life working on our mind, we spend our time working on our external world, then of course lots of conflicts arise, because we have lots of negative minds arising. So the first thing that we need to try to incorporate into our life is that when difficulties happen, we don't necessarily need to feel bad about it. Okay? So some of this is now going to sound very simple, because it is simple, just different types of views, different suggestions. So when difficulties happen in our life, we don't need to feel bad about it. Okay? So easy said, isn't it? So why do we feel bad about it? Because we feel as if it is not normal. Yeah? We feel it's not normal. That somehow we've got this silly idea as human beings, we've got this silly idea that somewhere on this planet there are this group of humans who everything goes right for them all the time. And we want to join them. We want to be those people. But actually it's rubbish. It's absolute rubbish. There is not one person alive who does not experience human difficulties. There's not one person alive. Each one of us without exception, we have to get old, we have to get sick, we have to die. We have to experience every single day stuff that we don't want to. We have to be separated from the stuff that we like. We have to endure all sorts of stuff that we would just never choose to. We generally have lots of feelings of being dissatisfied and discontent, and this is all normal. Okay? So when difficulties happen in our life, rather than thinking, oh, this isn't right, we need to start to think, actually, you know what? As this is happening to me, there's thousands of people this is happening to. It's normal. So it doesn't make me a failure just because I've got problems and difficulties. It makes me a human. And it takes the pressure off, I think. I think it just takes the pressure off. Because if we're thinking all the time that there are these perfect people out there, then we've got this an illusion that we can never achieve. But if instead we think, no, actually it is normal to have difficulties and problems. I'm just normal. I'm not a failure. I'm just experiencing human difficulties. Why? Because I'm a human. If I was an animal, I would be experiencing the problems of being a cat or a dog or whatever. Because I'm sure if they could talk, they could tell us all sorts of problems that they have to experience. So this, I know it sounds, not sort of earth-shattering, but actually, I promise you, next time something happens, start with a small thing. When something goes wrong, rather than feeling bad about it, and really criticising yourself and giving yourself heaps, just accept this is what life is like, and we have this stuff. It is because we are human. And then we just get on with it and we try to deal with it. Right? Because if the mind starts to think it should not be like this, what happens? We resist it, and then we get paralysed, don't we, with it? So we've got to try to relax a little bit into our difficulties. Mentally relax rather than resist and pull away from it. Like we're so frightened of all our suffering that we pull away from it, whereas it's inevitable. So we need to relax into it. In a similar way, you know, that if you're going to have an injection, for some reason you're going abroad and you need to have an injection for something, and if you make your body really, really tight, and they try to give you an injection, then you will feel a lot of pain from that, because your muscles are so tight. Whereas if you relax, the needle goes in. Sorry if people have got needle phobias here. Anyway, the needle goes in, and it still probably hurts a little bit. I think they always hurt a little bit, but not as much. Yeah, and this is what we can be like with our problems. If mentally, rather than every time a difficulty arises, we get ourselves really tight and stressed and tense, we relax mentally, and there's an acceptance that comes. And with that acceptance, the resistance goes, and it allows then for the mind to start thinking clearly about how to best solve the problem. Because if difficulties arise and our mind gets tight and tense, and we get ourselves into such a flat, we can't think of any solution. Yeah? This is why often we're better at giving other people advice than we are at advice ourselves, isn't it? Don't you think?